What's up, future CPAs? Welcome back. Today, we're diving deep into a standard that is an absolute heavy hitter on the LAPA, PAS 23, all about borrowing costs. Now, this isn't just about memorizing rules, okay? It's about understanding the financial story a company tells when it's building something big for its future. So let's get right into it.
Okay, picture this. Your company is building a brand new state-of-the-art factory. You've taken out some serious loans. We're talking millions. And that interest cost is piling up every single month. So here's the million peso question. Is that interest just a regular expense that you report right away, hitting your profits for the year? Or can you actually add it to the cost of the factory itself, making the asset more valuable on your books? That single question, right there, is the entire reason PAS 23 exists.
So, to get you from feeling kind of shaky to totally confident, we've got a solid game plan. We'll kick things off with a simple case study. Then we'll run through the essential tests and then nitty-gritty calculations. After that, we'll nail down the timing rules, and we'll wrap it all up with some killer study hacks to make sure this stuff is locked in for exam day.
All right, let's meet our main character for today, Zetec. They're a fast-growing company, and they're building this incredible new innovation lab. I mean, this thing is a massive project. And to pay for it, they did what pretty much every company does. They borrowed money. This lab is their key to future success. But that debt, it creates an accounting puzzle that needs solving right now.
So, here's the deal. Zetec is paying interest month after month. Now, if they just expense it, their profit for the year takes an immediate hit. But if they capitalize it, and that's the magic word, it just means adding it to the lab's cost, well, their assets on the balance sheet go up, and their net income actually looks higher while the lab is being built. See? It's a huge decision, and PAS 23 is the rule book that tells us exactly what to do.
First things first, we can't just go around capitalizing interest cost on any old thing we buy. Oh no, the asset has to be special. It has to pass what I call the qualifying asset test. So let's see if Zetec's new lab has what it takes to make the cut.
Okay, so the official definition says a qualifying asset is one that necessarily takes a substantial period of time to get ready. That phrase right there, substantial period of time, is everything. We're not talking about a new laptop you buy online. We're talking about the big stuff. Building a factory, developing a power plant, constructing an office tower. You get the idea. Big projects that take time.
So let's run the lab through a quick checklist. Is it for Zetec's own use? Yep. Does it take a long time to build? For sure. Is it ready to be used right now? Not even close. So, boom, the lab passes the test. It is officially a qualifying asset.
All right, so the lab is in. It qualifies. Now the next question is, how much interest can we actually capitalize? To figure that out, we have to know where the money came from. PAS 23 basically splits all your company's debt into two different pools. And believe me, the way you calculate the interest for each one is totally different.
So on one side, you have specific borrowing. Think of this as a loan with one name on it, to build the lab. There's a direct traceable line from this loan to our asset. Easy enough. But on the other side, you have general borrowings. This is just the company's big pot of debt that it uses for, everything. Paying salaries, running ads, and yeah, some of that money is also being used to help fund the lab. Okay, grab your calculators, because this next part is where you're going to score some serious points on the exam. We're about to walk through the exact formulas for both types of borrowings. This is your official calculation playbook.
For specific borrowings, the logic is actually pretty simple, which we love. You just take the actual interest you paid on that specific loan during the year. But wait, what if Zetec got the loan money in January, but didn't actually pay the builder until March? They're not just going to let that cash sit there, right? They'd probably invest it short term. Any income they earn from that temporary investment gets subtracted from the interest cost, so it's the net cost that gets capitalized.
Now, general borrowing. It's a little bit more work, I'll admit, because the money isn't directly tied to our lap. But don't worry, we can nail this with a simple three-step process. First, we figure out the average amount of cash tied up in the project all year. Second, we get the average interest rate of all our other general loans. And third, we multiply those two, and then, this is important, we compare. Let's break that down.
Okay, for step one, we calculate the average expenditure, not just the total spent. We do this by weighting each payment based on how long it was actually part of the project during the year. See that payment on January 1st? It was there for the whole 12 months. But the one on October 1st? It's only been in the project for 3 months. We add up these weighted amounts, and that gives us our average expenditure of 7.8 million pesos.
All right, on to step two, the capitalization rate. Now, don't let this fancy term scare you. It's really just the weighted average interest rate on all of the company's other general loans. You just take the total annual interest from all those loans and divide it by the total principal amount of those loans. Boom, you get one single percentage that represents your average cost of general debt.
And now for step 3. Listen up, because this is the golden rule and a classic exam trap. You take your average expenditure from step 1 and multiply it by the rate from step 2. But you're not done. You have to compare that number to the actual total interest you paid on your general loans for the year. And you can only capitalize the lower of the two. Let me say that again. You can never, ever capitalize more interest than you actually paid.
So, we know what qualifies and we know how to calculate the cost. The final piece of this puzzle is when. For how long can ZTech keep adding interest to the cost of their lab? The timeline is super important, and it's got strict rules for starting, stopping, and even pausing.
Capitalization starts or commences only when all three of these things are happening at the same time. You're spending money, you're paying interest, and you're actively working on the asset. It gets suspended or paused if work stops for an extended period. Like, imagine ZTech's project hits a snag for 3 whole months because a key material is stuck in shipping. You'd have to stop capitalizing then. And finally, capitalization ceases. It ends for good when the asset is substantially complete and ready to go.
Now, this is a super important distinction, so pay close attention. We do not suspend capitalization for every little hiccup. If work stops for a few days while concrete is curing, or if there's a short delay because of a typhoon, which, happens, those are just considered normal parts of the process. Capitalization keeps going. Suspension is only for those weird, abnormal, and extended interruptions.
All right, you've got the core concepts down. Now let's switch from learning mode to winning mode. This section is all about arming you with the study hacks and mental shortcuts you need to absolutely crush any PAS 23 question that comes your way on the LECPA. This is how we make it stick.
If you remember just one big idea from all of this, let it be this one. The entire philosophy behind PAS 23 can be boiled down to something called the avoidable cost principle. It's the real why behind all these rules we've just talked about.
Here's what that means in simple terms. The interest you get to capitalize is the interest that you're only paying because you decided to build that asset. Ask yourself, if we hadn't built the lab, would we have this specific interest cost? If the answer is no, then that's an avoidable cost, and it should probably be part of the asset's cost. Everything else is just a regular expense of running the business.
And here's your second hack. It's a recap of our golden rule because it is that important, and it's where so many people get tripped up. For general borrowings, you'll always have 2 numbers. The one you calculate with the formula and the actual interest you really paid. Your answer is always the lower number. Always. Don't let them trick you on the exam.
And here it is, your final high-impact review. This is the slide you screenshot, save, and look at right before you walk into that exam room. It boils down every single thing we've covered into 6 essential bullet points. You master these 6 points, and you've basically mastered PAS 23.
So we'll end with a little food for thought. The whole point of this standard is to better reflect the true cost of getting a huge asset ready for use. But think about it. This practice makes a company's assets look bigger and its net income look higher while they're building something. Does that always give investors a clearer, more honest view of how the company is really doing? Or can it sometimes hide the true cost of taking on all that debt? Something to think about as you continue your journey to becoming an amazing CPA. Good luck with your review.